All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Core Manpower Organic Fitness Podcast. I have my latest guest here in front of me. We have Lisa. Lisa, say hello to the listeners.
Hello, listeners. Good morning. How are you? Happy Saturday.
She's after, I suppose, setting up a company based here in Wicklow and Gravestones. She can say all about, I suppose, the cacao and the product that she currently has and its benefits, because I'm a firm believer in the likes of cacao. And I suppose, Lisa, do your elevator pitch and tell the listeners a little bit about it.
Right. Good morning, everyone. So we're a company called Nibbed. We started coming up in a year in April. We have our first birthday. So we make organic, 100% organic certified products from the cacao beans. So we import our beans and we make products from the bean to the bar or to the cup, basically. Oops, sorry. So we have 9 products currently on the range. We have 100% cacao block that's meant for either drinking, baking, and cooking with, so savory foods. And then we have 2 types of teas. So people who prefer a lighter type of cacao drink, we have 2 teas. We have one with coconut, one with orange, one with cardamom. And then we have melting spoons. So these are a real treat. They have a little bit of sugar in it. They're chocolate as opposed to cacao because they have sugar in there. And then we have 3 chocolate barks, and on those then there's different ingredients as well. And then we have a nibble, so cacao nibs that have activated pumpkin and dehydrated orange and a little bit of maple to them.
Right, well, what people want to know is what are the main benefits, I suppose, drinking your products, I suppose, from any other?
Yeah, so, well, basically cacao in general has an awful lot of health benefits. There is no one cacao over the other that's going to give you different health benefits from a nutritional point of view. So when we look at the nutritional profile, and we've had our nibs tested, so we know exactly what's in our 100%, actually in all our products. And we know we've got a lot of really good fats, or we know the cacao has a lot of fat in it anyway. And this is one of the questions people ask a lot of. And we have 45 grams of fat per 100 gram in our cacao, but half of those are really, really good fats. I'm not going to go into the exact breakdown, but I can show you them. But really, really good fats, really good for you, and for your skin, for brain health. So this is why cacao, we talk about cacao and brain health as in, because our brains are made up of so much fat. You're basically giving your brain what it needs to function. So there is a lot of research out there about cognitive and mental health and feeling better and the general mental health benefits that you get from cacao products. So that's the one. And then the second one is it has very high fiber. So we're talking 34 grams of fiber per 100 grams, which is really, really high. So your average cup, you're getting a good dose of fiber for the day.
For your gut health.
For your gut health, exactly.
Your immune system, and also the fact that it's also in your gut, which is 90% of your serotonin. So you're not only going to be happier and healthier.
This is why you're happy when you're drinking it, is because it's your gut that's doing all the work.
And another, I suppose, main benefits of those antioxidants that reduce stress in the body. Everyone wants to have less stress, and there's, I suppose, that point we were touching on earlier. It's, I suppose, even higher than other ones we were touching on.
Yeah, so we talk about antioxidants, and when your body is in stress, it creates what's called free radicals. And antioxidants basically go, I'm doing it very simple here, go and eat up all the free radicals that are doing. So say, for example, after exercise, so if you do an awful lot of exercise, cacao actually is a perfect post-exercise drink because of that very, very high antioxidant profile, but because it also has quite high in protein as well, and the fats obviously as well. So it's replacement and repair after exercise. So yeah, antioxidants really, really high up. So we always talk about cinnamon and turmeric and blueberries and all of this stuff, but actually cacao is just as high. It's called an ORAC scale, just to be technical, and it's basically the list of antioxidants and how many antioxidants they have in it, and cacao is really, really high up on that list. Some people grade it higher than cinnamon and some don't, depending where you get your list.
Yes, depending on the product they're testing.
Yeah, exactly, and who's testing it and whatever. But that's why we talk about heart health in cacao, is because of all this protective antioxidant profile that's in there as well. Yeah, it's fascinating. And then you have a substance called theobromine. So a lot of people ask us what's the caffeine level in our cacao, because the caffeine and coffee are related. They're a similar plant. So we got ours tested, and we know that we only have 0.22% of caffeine content in our cacao. So it's really, really, really low. So people who are sensitive to caffeine can drink cacao. And you get the hit though, because so you know the caffeine is the stimulant in coffee, and theobromine is the stimulant that's in cacao. And the big difference is that theobromine, you drink it and you go up with your energy and it's sustained. Whereas if you have a coffee with caffeine, you'll go up and you'll crash again. So that's the big difference. It's a kind of a sustained energy, and you don't get this nervousness or the jittery effect or whatever.
And I've actually experienced that myself. I would drink cacao on a regular basis, and coffee is something that I can't have on my diet as a result of those shakes or that 3 p.m. slump, which a lot of people are roller coastering up and down. And then the whole idea of the caffeine have a negative effect on their sleep. This is an alternative to it, and I always ask people to not take out things out of their diet, more so to put in healthier food choices, alternatives.
Yeah, exactly. Well, certainly, I mean, a big change for me is, I mean, we only started last April, I was drinking an awful lot of coffee. And since we started making these products and I kind of learned a lot more about it, I have definitely been drinking two mugs of it. Now I make it with milk, because our oat milk, because we're plant-based, so all our products are vegan and gluten-free. Make it with oat milk, and I put it into a little milk heater, and it's lovely, and it's such a comforting drink. Like we say, it's a hug in a mug. You know, it's not just good for you mentally and emotionally, but it's also really, it just gives you a really nice warm feeling. And it is a heart opener, so we know that cacao is a heart opener as well, and very protective. But then you've all these other benefits. So we talked about prebiotic. I've read research that it is an amazing prebiotic. So you know, the prebiotics feed your gut bacteria, which is a really important job, I guess. So we know that, and there's so much more research that can be done and that will be done from actually cacao, because we're so used to seeing chocolate as chocolate, but we have very little research on actually cacao and how good it is for you for particular health benefits, you know.
And what was the difference between the likes of maybe cacao powder and your product is often supposed put side by side?
So like the cocoa powder that you would buy in the shop. So okay, so if you think about it, you have a bean, so in a bean, on the outer shell, it's called the husk, and that's 20% of the bean, and inside is the nib, and the nib is what you grind down to make cacao, basically, or press to make cacao. But for industry, what they do is, if you think of that nib, 45% of ours is fat, for example. And if we put that through a press, we would get cocoa butter on one side and you get solids on the other side, okay? So it's like powder. So cacao or cocoa is made from these solids minus the cacao butter, okay? And then they add sugar and add other stuff to them. So they've removed the fat from it. So you're not getting the benefit, first of all, from the fats that are
those are healthy fats we're looking for.
Really healthy fats are so important. Like
regulate hormones, satiation, good for skin health, cognitive function.
Like I really think, okay, a lot of saturated fat, you know, in a very, very high saturated fat diet isn't very good for you, but I do believe you need to be balanced with your fat intake, you know, and certainly going low fat, it wouldn't be my
mine either.
Yeah, definitely not. So removing the fat makes it the powder. So you know, when you make a drinking chocolate or whatever, when you buy these kind of finished drinking chocolates or cacao powders, they're kind of very different to ours because you don't have that fat on your, you know, fat kind of is not silky and makes different. But the problem, that problem isn't the problem really. What the biggest issue is, they do it through a process called Dutch processing, and they alkalize it, which means they remove the acids, the original flavored acids. So you don't get the flavor profile that a real cacao bean has, because every cacao bean has acids in it, but they strip it, they alkalize it. I don't know how they do it. Wouldn't say it's very good for you. Whereas we enhance that flavor profile. We scream about the cherry flavor and all of these notes, but because industry is so conditioned to remove all those, what we would call bad flavors, bitters and you know, kind of acids that were quite acidic, we're conditioned to eating chocolate that doesn't taste like that. But real chocolate and real cacao will have those flavors all the way through it, because it's inherent in the bean. So unless you take it out chemically, how are you going to do it?
Yeah. I suppose I want to even bring up the point that you're actually going over to the producers of the bean, which is amazing. I want to go in our suitcases.
Yeah, no, I'll take you next week. I'm going next Wednesday, please God. So this day next week, I will be up, hopefully on the farms, wandering around, driving them mad, asking those questions. I can't wait to meet the farmers.
But that's why it's so important, I suppose, to go to the places where
Yeah.
the product is being, I suppose, grown, and you're exactly going to see firsthand where it's produced, how it's harvested, and which is really key. And it being, I suppose, a fully registered organic product, that's why you're another reason why you're going over there to see exactly what's going on.
Absolutely. So for us, it's all about trade. So our core values in NIBT are traceability, transparency, and quality. And that's why I invite you, come in and have a look around. We have nothing to hide here. We're not selling ourselves as something we're not. And one of the most important things are beans. So for us, if we don't get happy beans, we don't have a happy product. And I want to make sure that our farmers are happy. I've been going on word of mouth and information I've been getting from my supplier, but I just want to go over and make sure. So the way it works in the Dominican Republic is they're all quite small farmers. So they would all have very small farmers. So they all deliver to this centralized co-op, and it's a social enterprise, and it's a co-op. And from there, they are fermented and dried in a safe environment. Then they're hand sorted and packed. And I guess really important for me is to make sure there's no children out there working on the farms using manchettas and doing all this really dangerous work. I want to make sure that there is, because our beans are fairly traded. They don't have a fair trade certification, but they are fairly traded. They have full organic certification. But I just want to make sure what they're telling me is actually happening, because that's one of our biggest, we wouldn't have a product without beans, so we need to make sure they're being looked after, and we pay a very high, what's called farm gate price. So they're not a commodity price, it's a farm gate price, but to make sure that they get a fair price for their beans, as an Irish farmer will get, farm gate price, as opposed to commodity, and then it goes up and down every year. So this doesn't fluctuate, it's a constant. Yeah.
It's great that you're doing that, and it's exciting for yourself, and I'm nearly excited for you.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm buzzing. I'm like, I'm drinking cacao, which I probably shouldn't be doing because it's making me even higher, But yeah, no, I'm really excited to go, because I wanted to go last year and I wanted to go in January, and it always got pushed out again. So please God, now it all works out on Wednesday, 3 more days. Yeah, no, it's exciting because I want to develop a relationship with these guys, because at the moment we're too small to buy direct from farm. Okay, so the way Cacao works is, it's tons, and like you saw what space I have space for a ton down there. So as we grow, we would hope to be able to buy in, say, from a harvest. So it's 2 harvests a year, so we have to buy in from a harvest maybe 20 tons or whatever we need, and be able to store them properly for us and buy direct from the farmer, so that there is no middleman. But at the moment, we have to go through an importer in the Netherlands because we just can't buy enough, But definitely the goal will be that when we get to that stage business-wise, that we'll be able to go back to the farm and go, okay, let's buy direct, let's import ourselves. So it just means that we can charge a better price, that we're a fairer price. I think you have to have integrity in business. And I think, at the end of the day, profit can't be your only goal. And for us, definitely one of the things I want to see when I go out there is, what can we give back? Is there any certified planting schemes that we can contribute to? Like, we don't have buckets of money, but maybe we'd be able to, as we grow, we might be able to do something, put something in with our product price. So over there, and then locally as well, it's very important that locally here in Cacao, that we can start giving more jobs, and yeah, so it's exciting. A big fan.
Have you, I suppose, seen any benefits of yourself with the consumption of cacao, or family members or customers that buy your product?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We have the most amazing feedback from customers. Like, we have people, so we sell direct to customer, we also sell through different people, and we get so much amazing feedback from people saying they've tried it and it's fab, and I have so many people who have started drinking cacao regularly, and substituting 1 coffee a day with the cacao. It's amazing. So I do think we're only at the start of the cacao journey, as a, you know what I mean? Like, we're kind of out the front. We're first to market with a few of our products. So but I reckon we'll probably start getting more competition as people see what's happening, what we're doing. The only thing that'll run to our advantage is that bean to bar is a very, very long process, and there's only 5 of us in Ireland that are real bean to bar people, because it's very expensive to set up. So it's not going, everybody's not going to be able to do it, you know. And as you grow, you need to buy bigger machines, and it's also very time consuming. But what I love is that we're able to do it from the raw ingredient. So everything we buy in is a raw ingredient, and then we work with it. We're not buying anything and it's finished, made, you know.
Yeah, and I love, as I talk about often, is the likes of consuming more single ingredient foods, and the cacao bars, which I'm a major fan of. I literally add it to yogurts. So there's another high protein source that makes, I suppose, an alternative to like, you know, maybe people's desserts. It's just 100% cacao, which is great. I always talk about magnesium for sleep, reducing anxiety, all those things. It being fermented, good for your gut health. And the more people consume high quality products, such as what you have, it's going to benefit their health. And your health is your wealth going into whatever fitness goal that you currently have.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, certainly if we talk about nutrition and from a sports nutrition point of view, yes, there's a lot of theobromine in there. So as a sports nutritionist, I have a master's in sports and exercise nutrition. Would I recommend you drinking 100% cacao before a run, for example? Probably not, because it's a very high fat content. So your body just wouldn't be able to metabolize it quick enough to be able to use as an energy source. But it is an amazing recovery drink. So what I would say to you is, you know, make it up in a flask if you're out for a run, and when you come home, drink it within the first half an hour coming back, and it will certainly replenish. The teas, though, I think would be a really good way of hydrating during exercise and before exercise. So when we look at exercise, because they would have theobromine in there as well. So that's a really good way. Because with fluids, it makes it easier to drink, so as not everybody can do water. You know, people struggle with water as well. And fluid intake is absolutely essential if you're doing any exercise, especially kind of long distance endurance stuff. But they are also 100% sugar free, so there is no sugar in either of those drinks either. But yeah, no, like, and of course the 100%. Then if you look at South America, they don't eat really chocolate. They drink cacao, so that's their big thing. But they also use it in other savory food. So if you grate that up and put it into a lentil chili, or it really enhances the flavor. They make tacos with it. They do so much. You know, I can show you loads of recipes.
Do a cookbook
of what you can do with 100% cacao, because it's neither sweet nor savory. It's cacao. Its functions are completely unlimited. The only thing is, if people are using it baking, what I would recommend is just, you'll have to adjust your sugar, because remember, there's no sugar in it, and all of the other chocolates that you buy in the market that you bake with or cook with will have sugar in it. So you need to adjust maybe a little bit less cacao and a little bit more sugar to your normal recipe. That's the only main thing.
Right, I suppose I just want to wrap this, podcast up, and by even saying, Lisa, thanks very much for coming on, thanks for the show and telling us all about the benefits of it and where you're going to get it and where you have been getting it. But I want you to the listeners, I suppose, that I said, where the best place they can reach out to you and get some of your product to try it and sample it, your social media platforms. What are they? And just, I'll be putting them in the show notes.
Brilliant, yeah. Okay, so we are, Anna's very active, my niece, my partner. I do all the production and all of that stuff, and she does all of the social media and online marketing, PR, all that type of stuff. So reach out on Instagram. Anna's really always on it, so she will definitely respond to you. You can email us through our Shopify, and we're really quick about getting back to people. You know, customer service to me is paramount. Yeah, so we have Instagram is at nibbed_cacao. Our website is nibbed.ie. And yeah, we have an open day on the 2nd of April to be confirmed. So if anybody fancies coming up and having a look around, we're going to open up and let people see the beans, see what exactly they are, the processes, you know. Don't really know how we're going to do it, but we're going to do it.
Brilliant. And I always, I suppose, end these podcasts with saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.
Sure, sweet.